my Stampin' friends, I'm Sandra at artypapercrafters.com, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today I've got a cute little tutorial to share with you. This is a cute little gift box, and it's got a little pull-out slidey drawer for you to put your treats in. I have got a little bar of chocolate in mine, but you could put in 3 Ferrero Rochers. They fit beautifully as well as those little red ones. Can't think of what they're called now. They're yummy, truffly. No, can't think of them. Anyway, they fit in there perfectly too. And inside I've stamped a little sentiment. Let's just take the chocolate out. I've put some lovely of the new designer series paper inside, and inside I've stamped "Your thoughtfulness brightened my day." I think that's quite good, quite cute. And so we're going to get on and we're going to make that today. So we're going to use today 2 of the new in colours, Berry Burst and Lemon Lime Twist. Put my teeth back in. So let's get our papers. We're using powder pink cardstock today with Berry Burst New Florals DSP, and let's do some scoring on our scoring tool. So we'll put our cardstock in on the long side, and this measures 9 by 6.5, and we're going to score it on the long side at 1 inch and 2.5 inches on all 4 sides, and that's in metric, that's 2.5 and 6.5. So in inches, that's 1 inch and 2.5 all the way around. 1 inch, 2.5. So that's the scoring for the base of our box, and then we're going to score our belly band, and we are going to score this, actually we're going to score this on the Stampin' Up trimmer, because we're working in 1/16 of an inch with this. So the Stampin' trimmer to the rescue. This is a scorer and a trimmer, so we'll put the blade out of the way. So this piece for the belly band measures 6 5/8 by 4 1/16, and we're going to score it on the long side at 1/2 inch. So we're going to score it this side first, and then we're going to turn it round. So 1/2 inch that way, turn that round. Then we're going to score it at 2 inches. 2 inches. And we're going to score it at 3 9/16, which is just over the 1/2 inch mark. And then we're going to score it at 5 1/16. So that's our scoring done. Put that away. Right, let's make a start first off with the base. So bone folder, we're going to do some folding and burnishing. Right then, so that's all our burnishing done. So this is a reinforced box, so we're going to cut it just like we always do, up here. I'm going to cut that off and notch in, cut that end piece off and notch in, piece off here. Up here the same. And make sure you cut off your score lines. That gives you a much neater box when your box is finished. So wedge in here and up here. That wasn't very tidy, was it? Opposite side, cut up. Take these pieces out and wedge in. This piece comes off. Notch in. Notch in. Last one. And then last off, everything wedge out of here, and that's done. Just tidy that up. So I think that, I've missed one here. Just notch that in. That's that. So I tend to keep some of these bigger pieces because they're good for cutting out little flowers, things like that. So put those to one side and get rid of the smaller bits in the bin. And the rubbish. You'll laugh, I've got a bin under my desk and it's constantly, I miss the bin and have to pick it up afterwards. That's what happens when you keep making things. Right, so a reinforced box with a ribbon pull. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. So I've got my 1/8, I think this is 1/8 of an inch punch, and we're going to insert that into our box and make a hole in the middle at the end there. That's for our ribbon to go through. And then I've got a very small piece of 1/8 of an inch ribbon. Can't remember what this is called now. This was part of the Sending Love combo pack. You've got a red one and the white one, and it's called a 1/8 of an inch gross grain Whisper White ribbon. Lovely. So fold your two ends together and push them through the hole. Let's get some scissors. Just getting my sharp scissors to just cut a point, because that make it easier for you to push that through your little box there. And then you pull that in to however long you want your pull to be. So I am thinking that long. You see that? And then you need to secure that down either side, and I like to secure that with a bit of fast fuse when I can find it. So a bit of fast fuse on there. That secures that on very well. You can use wet glue or tape, whatever you prefer. And then we're now going to put our box together, but we're going to put our double-sided tape on for our reinforced edges. Whoops, falling all off. So a bit of tape on here. So a bit of tape on there, and then we get our wet glue for our edge pieces. But so I need to make sure that I don't get that glue and seal that down onto my ribbon, I've just realised. So some wet glue on your tabs, on all 4 tabs. I'm going to do these ends first. So push your edges up nice and tight, she says, when they start pulling apart. Same with this end. Put that together. Tuck these ends in. Getting into a mess with this for some unknown reason. Show it who's boss, that's what I say. Show it who's boss. Right, so in with the bone folder and make sure that that's nicely stuck on all 4 of those edges. Right, so now we're going to undo our, take the backing off of our tape, our double-sided tape, bone fold it in, work our way round. I'm going to have to just wipe my fingers with a damp cloth because I seem to have glue stuck to it and I'm sticking to everything. Right. So that's our little box made, and in order for me to tidy up the inside, I think it looks nice with some DSP anyway. So let's get the little piece of DSP. The measurements for this will be on my blog. So we're going to, am I going to put that in that way or that way? I think that would be pretty that way, wouldn't it? Let's do it this way then. So just burnish those score lines And then we're going to stick our sentiment, which I've already prepped up. Your thoughtfulness brighten my day. This is a piece that measures 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/4 inches, and I've used the banner triple punch to get my little quirky edges, and I've stamped that onto Whisper White in using my Berry Burst ink. A bit of glue on the back of that, and pop that into the centre of that outer piece of DSP so that we're going to see that inside here. So that fits in there nice and snugly. It's not going anywhere. And we're just going to put a little bit of wet glue along the edge there just to make sure that that stays stuck in there. So press that down into there, and then that's stuck inside. Same this side, bit of wet glue along this edge when I can get it to come out. Pop that down in there, and a bit of pushing to make sure that's in good and proper. And then that's our little inside of our box. Looks very pretty, doesn't it? Like that. Love it. Love it. Now for the outside of our box, we've got our piece of DSP that we scored, and so we're just going to burnish that very gently. And then we're going to put some wet glue on this. On this little skinny strip, and turning your box upside down, we're going to put that underneath so that our seam goes underneath the bottom, and put it on so that you've got a little bit of what I call wiggle room to get your pull your DSP off. Like that. And then, oh, I'm all sticky again. Right, so that's our little box made, and then you just get the ribbon pull and pull that out like that. It pulls in quite easily. Just make sure you don't do that up too tight, otherwise you won't get that pulled out. But that's cute, isn't it? It's rather dinky. So now we're going to put our little flower on it, and that uses the Daisy Delight punch, which I'm in love with at the moment. Can't stop using it, making lots of things with that. So let's get some Whisper White. This measures about 3 inches by 8 1/4. And we're going to stamp that out. We need two of these stamped out. So that's one. Nice. That's 2. And what we're going to do is in the centre of, I'll put that over there. I don't want to stick my sleeve in that. It's a dark colour. What we're going to do is there's 2 little centres to this stamp set, and we're going to use the one that's not quite so filled in. That's the other one, and we're going to put that in the lemon lime twist, and we're going to stamp that into the middle of just one of them. You only need it in one because when you've layered them, obviously the other won't show. We don't need this. Yes, we do need that. Right, so now what we're going to do, I have got a strip for my sentiment and a piece in powder pink. And we're going to stamp our sentiment in the Berry Burst. So let's get our sentiment thank you from the set. Nice font, love the font on this. So let's prep that onto the block and into the ink and down like that. And then what I'm going to do on the powder pink piece, I am going to get the powder pink ink and I'm going to just stamp the little daisy. There's a little tiny daisy here in the set, and I've prepped that up onto my block here, and we're just going to stamp that. This is called tone on tone stamping. We're just going to stamp that. Where's some scratch paper? I don't want to make a mess. So we're just going to do some tone on tone. We're just going to do a few little daisies along the edge of our other piece. And that just adds a little touch, I think. A little touch, that's good. So ink away. Close these pads up because they're so juicy as they're new. And then push that to one side, and then I've got my triple banner punch. We're going to just punch an end in this. Like that. We're going to do the same with our sentiment. Pop that in and chop the end of that. And then that's going to get layered up on top of that, like so. And you usually layer it up so that you've got about 1/8 of an inch showing, like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to trim that. So this end here, back in the punch, and we're just going to trim the end off that. It probably doesn't matter actually if this is trimmed, but we'll take a piece off that anyway. And then that gets layered up onto there like that. All the measurements for these fiddly pieces will be on my blog, and then we'll just stick that down on with a piece of fast fuse for quickness. Like that. And that's going to go across here, and I got my bone folder with this and just pulled it into a quirky sort of label shape like that. Like that. That gets stuck down on here. So we're going to stick that down with a piece of fuse onto there. Like that. And now we're going to punch out using the daisy punch, the matching daisy punch. And if you buy this set as a bundle, the punch and the stamp set, you save 10%. So you line that up in your punch, the little daisy. Make sure you've got this an equal border all the way round, and then you punch that out. Same here. Line that up in the punch. And punch that out. And then we're going to layer that up. So I like just a piece of fast fuse in the center, and then offset that so that it forms what you would call your typical daisy shape. And then what I've done, I've got my bone folder and I've pulled it upwards because I just want that dimension of a bit more up. So you can pull the inner petals up a bit more than the outer, I would say. The inner petals is obviously the top one. So just pull them up to whatever pleases you, whatever shape you like. I love this daisy punch, it's lovely. So easy to punch out lovely daisies in all sorts of colours, that's why I like it. And that is going to sit on there. And then I've got these really glittery, sparkly, they're called glitter enamel dots. And they come in the 4 colours of, what colours are they? Doesn't say. Anyway, there's 160 of them, and this is Lemon Lime Twist, Berry Burst, Daffodil Delight, and that looks like Island Indigo to me. Anyway, we're going to stick on, because we want it to match, so we're going to put a green one. So we're going to put one of these large green sparkly ones into the centre here for that added bling. Get hold of it. Oh, it keeps moving. What are you doing, Sandra? That's better. And there we have it. There's that. Oh, lost it again. There's our little glittery thing, and you could put Wink of Stella on that if you wanted to. And then I've cut myself 3 leaves as well, because you've got to have leaves with your flowers, haven't you? So do the same thing with your bone folder, just give them a bit of dimension, a bit of shape, a bit of movement, as they say. Like that. And then I'll just get my silicone mat, because I don't want to put glue on this paper. So let's put our flower on there with some dimensionals, or a dimensional. Fits perfectly on the back of that. Gorgeous. Pop that on there. Like that. Lovely. And then a bit of fast fuse on each one of these. And pop them underneath like that. On this side. And one over here. And that completes my gorgeous little gift box. So I think they're lovely. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And you can, like I say, pop chocolates, treats, any treats of your choice, really. The choice is yours. But I think that's so pretty. I think you'll agree. And I hope you'll have a go at making them. Maybe put a little order through my shop. That would be fabulous. Anyway, that's all for me. For all the details, click on that little down arrow description bar if you're watching this in YouTube, and click onto project details or onto my website, which is artypapercrafters.com. Thank you so much for watching today, for liking, sharing and subscribing to my blog and YouTube channel. And until the next time, bye for now. Bye.